What's in my mind? I am a victim. Or Jesus Christ! I'm gonna tell you about the afterlife. I'm gonna tell you about what happened last night. I'm gonna tell you about my insanity.
What up, dude?
I identify as an American. See my shirt?
You know what? The whole time we were talking before the show, I had never read your shirt, so I just learned this with everybody else.
I identify as an American.
I was stuck on the hair, brother.
You know, I've been trying to figure out, you know, because it's when you live in Arizona, it's a sun-driven state, right? Because the sun is always in the sky.
Most definitely.
And you know, and it's you know, skin cancer is real. You know, not that I have skin cancer, and I've never had skin cancer, and I don't plan on getting skin cancer, but I figured, what's wrong with having different things to cover my head with? And you know, this is a goth wig, and it fits really nicely, and it's, you know, if I didn't have the gray on my face, if you never met me before, would you think it was real? You know, because I can move it around and shit. You know.
At this resolution and at this angle and at this size, yeah, you could pull it off. I'd be like, that's a really bad haircut, but yeah, you could pull it off.
It's a bad haircut, man. It's the goth, dude. It's the goth rock. I don't know what the fuck it was. We as you can see, and the listeners or the viewers can see behind me.
We have a graveyard in the studio.
Yes, because I went to Spirit Halloween stores in Arizona on November 1st. Everything was slashed in half price.
Oh, phew.
Half price. So there's like $500 worth of
real
shit.
people.
Right. There's like $500 of stuff for like $250. We got the giant spider web to hang off the house. We got a pop-up coffin, which is pretty legit. We got a body bag. You know, Nikki got some cat skeletons, and those of you who have followed us for the last 53 episodes, you know my neighbors to the east are assholes and called the police on me because I thought I was killing and skinning and burying cats in my backyard. Okay. Total fabrication.
I would be like,
of
you don't even know me at all because I don't have that kind of motivation to, you know, that's a lot of extracurricular activity that even if I wanted to would never happen because I'd be like, son of a bitch, that's a lot of work.
Right, and this is the same fucker that I ignore his text now completely. I don't ever respond to him, but he sent me a picture a couple of days ago. Once again, you're watering my yard 5 feet in. Well, dickhead.
Once again,
right,
I fucking hate that shit.
Yeah. Well, number one. He's not supposed to have a structure with animals in it within 5 feet of the fence, which he does. So did the sprinklers go over my wall that I put in? For maybe 10 seconds, and then I go adjust it to make sure, because I have these knobs that I can make it. I can make the sprinkler go straight like this. I can make it fan out. I can variations of shit. That's why I bought it, so I can sit there and line it up on my fence line, and I can stand and watch it just hit the top of the hop seed.
We had that ability in our backyard because you didn't want to water the fence. For one, water's expensive in Arizona. Right. And you didn't want it to shoot so far that it was hitting the house, you know, because you'd rot your house eventually just watering it every day. Yeah, you can control those sprinkler heads however you want.
Right, and I didn't know that, so I started finding ones that I could do that with because, you know.
They are upgraded ones, but normally everybody finds them eventually. Hey, how you just watering that one part of your bush right there?
Right, and I have 24,000 some odd square feet of grass on my acre.
That's a lot.
So, you know, I found these ones that are badass, that legit, just so... Fuckhead that he is sent me a picture I didn't respond to. But sooner or later I was thinking about responding. Well, as soon as you keep your fucking cats out of my house, then out of my yard, then maybe I'll pay attention to how my water flows. But until such time, fuck yourself.
Are these like feral cats that just hang out outside, or are they his cats that he lets outside? Or?
They're their cats. They have like 4 or 5 cats. I saw them this morning walking 3 fucking dogs. Which, you know, if you let a dog out, you fucking call the pound, the dog gets picked up and taken to, you know, county dog shelter, right? You can't pick up a cat. Well, keep your cats out of my fucking yard. They used to shit in little man's playground area. And luckily with all the natural remedies and shit that we've gone through over the years of living here, they've finally all learned, except for maybe 2 or 3 will still kind of linger. And so it's just get the fuck out of my yard. You don't belong here. It's my fucking yard. It's your fucking cat. Keep your cat in your yard.
Is it legal in Arizona to own a lion?
I don't know, man.
Google it real quick. I
don't
got
know.
The wheels are turning, buddy.
Okay.
So
Well,
what I'd like to do is start a GoFundMe for Chris, and then we will all know the reason that the cats are disappearing, and there will be no mystery at all because the lion will be just chilling in the backyard. Like in Texas, it's legal to own a lion or a tiger or an elephant.
Can you own a lion in Arizona? Dangerous regulated animals to include lions, tigers, leopards, jaguars, cheetahs, and mountain lions, or any hybrid thereof. Bans possession of breeding except AZA and ZAA facilities, wildlife sanctuaries. But here's the funny thing, man. Here's the fucked up thing about Dickhead, okay? He's the one that told me to get an electric fence. He's like, because we were having conversations back and forth when he was still somebody.
Why would you get an electric fence?
Right. He's like, well, if you run an electric fence line on top of the fence, and you don't have a problem.
You're the one that owns the cats.
Right.
You put the electric fence up there.
Right. But he's telling me to put up electric fence to get a charge to charge his cats. Like basically step on the fence. Right.
I get it, but that's his responsibility if he doesn't want his cats like cruising all over the neighborhood. It's weird to have an indoor-outdoor cat, for one.
They don't give a fuck. That's the problem. They don't give a fuck. I give a fuck. I don't want your cats in my yard. They're disgusting animals. They fucking have all kinds of germs and shit they bring with them.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood you. I thought that he was saying that he didn't want his cats in your yard.
I don't want his cats in my yard.
And nor would I. I don't want cat shit in my yard either.
Right. So his solution to the problem was telling me that I should electrify the fence.
All right. Well, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Because I told him before, I looked it up. Humane Society in Arizona. I can catch a cat legally.
Sure.
Take it to the Humane Society, pay $95.
Sorry.
They take said cat for that $95 fee. They check if it's spayed or neutered. If it needs one of those things, they will do that. And if it's chipped, then they will call the rightful owner. If it's not chipped, then they put it up for adoption. It's completely legal in Arizona. So we had a cat trap. We set it up in the addition garage before we actually finished it. And so the addition didn't have a garage door on it. It was just basically a carport. One of the neighbors across the street, her cats got caught in it because I completely forgot we had it. That's how dedicated I was to catching cats. So they heard the cat crying, and then, shit you not, 3 separate security cameras catch Trish standing at the edge of the driveway doing this. Like, shit you not, looking down the street.
Back and forth for those of you who are just listening.
Both directions. Is anybody coming? Is anybody coming? And she's like probably a 60, 65-year-old woman. Anybody coming? While her dumbass roommate, Linda, who little man thinks is an old man, and she's a chick, so she's got to be, I don't know. She goes into the garage. She goes into the garage with Kristen, fucknut's wife, and they release the cat and then throw the cat trap across the garage, breaking it.
Fantastic.
So I called the police.
Good move.
Let me tell you something about Queen Creek police. They fucking suck. They don't do shit. I had video. I had 3 separate images showing them entering the addition garage, standing watch, and basically trespassing. Mind you, I had signs up that says no trespassing, premises is under surveillance, and beware of the dog. Why? Because we're in the middle of building the addition, so I had to have those things listed for liability purpose to tell the workers, hey, you're on film. Hey, I have a dog, beware of dog. And by the way, there's no trespassing, so if you're not supposed to be here, get the fuck off my property.
Sure.
So
also makes sense.
Thank you. So Queen Creek Police Department comes out, take my statement, I send them all the video footage. Okay?
Right.
I file charges against these fuckers for trespassing, all 3 of them, because legitimately they trespassed, and this is well past.
Absolutely.
This is well past the point of any civility because they all turn into fucking assholes. And I'm like,
we can't be civil and we can't negotiate, so this is what we have to get to, right?
Exactly. You can you can go fuck yourself. You're not.
Absolutely. We tried to be nice.
Right, and it's all one-sided, man. It's all just their fucking nonsense that they've done since the day we moved in. And
sometimes people are just fucking nuts, man.
Well, they're just assholes.
Like no common sense at all. The ship has sailed.
Right. Like I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38. 38 different things in my a place where I store stuff.
Right.
All relating to these guys, from videos to Snapchat. I mean, screenshot of their text messages they've sent us. And how they're just these just fucking assholes, man. Just fucking assholes. It's unbelievable. So yeah. But there's that. That's that. You know, it's just all that.
It sucks when you got bad neighbors, man. It just does. I've been there too.
Yeah, it just sucks because they're not. It's all on them. Like, we asked them to do one thing. So it's like the first thing they told us when we moved in after a couple weeks, oh, there's an issue with the land and the property line. Okay, whatever. I don't give a shit. Nikki asked them to clean the corner because their house smelled like shit. Their yard smelled like shit. They had their compost in a corner of the yard that wasn't 5 feet from our fence line. This is when we just had chain link. Goats. You're only supposed to have 4 horses on an acre according to the rules and regulations of my neighborhood. They have 3 goats, 2 cows, probably 50 chickens by now.
Wait, so you can only have
4 horses.
4 horses. That's it.
That's it per acre.
No goats?
No. I'm Rancho 1, so there's like 5 different ranchos. So Rancho 1, if you have an acre, you're only allowed legally to have 4 horses, nothing else.
Okay. Like nothing. No chickens,
no chickens, no goats,
just
no
4
cows.
horses. That's
4
where
horses.
we're at. And that's where this guy lives.
He lives next to me, so yes.
Okay.
3 goats,
right.
2 cows, who knows how many chickens now. They rescue fucking animals and shit, so they have 3 dogs and probably, 5 cats. Who knows? Think they have a peacock, think they have a turkey.
How does nobody else turn these people in? Does nobody else have an issue with them other than you guys?
Right.
Because you back up to them or whatever?
Right. See, that's the thing. So the way the rules and regulations work in neighborhoods like this without HOAs, it's up to the owners to bring it to each other's attention. So
oh fuck.
So when we asked them to clean up the corner of the land because it smelled like shit, and we were out there, little man, flies galore because it's shit. What attracts flies, shit does.
Sure.
So their response was basically, well, you live in a rural community, so just get used to it. And by the way, we're getting pigs. Well, fuck you. You're not getting pigs because you can't get pigs. You can't have pigs. It's illegal.
At this point now you have a fucking farm.
Right. You can't have swine. You can breed and raise potbelly pigs for sale, but you cannot have an actual swine that you're going to slaughter, which is what they referenced. So they bring up the land thing, which there's 53 square feet, like it's a sliver. Okay, that is in dispute. Okay, so
sure,
them being the fucks that they are, if it was us that had that on our land, we would happily say, okay, here you go, take your little sliver of pie back. It's all good because we're not petty like they are. They're petty, so we called them out and said, hey, if you don't give us our land, then we're going to go after you for all the deed restrictions that you have, which is you don't have 4 horses, you have everything but. So they came back countersuing, wanting to, do all kinds of nonsense and shit. So I was just kind of like, fuck this. This is the stupidest thing ever. So I was like, fuck it, I don't care. It's 53 square feet of land. Go fuck yourself. So that ended how it ended. Then and that all started because Nikki said, clean up your shit. And we're going to get pigs.
Which is ridiculous.
Right, we're going to get pigs, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. So there's just like in my thing, I could read it up, and I'm not going to read it up because it's a waste of space to fucking address these assholes. But there's basically 30 things that they've done since.
So basically what they told you is, we asked you to do one nice thing for us because you're being a fucking asshole, and they just said, here's what we're going to do to retaliate because you asked us to do something we should have done to begin with.
Right.
That's what I just heard.
Mm-hmm. They refused to clean up their shit. They finally cleaned up their shit.
That's what I like to call a fucking asshole.
Right. Because
remember when I said, can you not with your own brain determine who's an asshole and who's not? What the fuck difference does it make what color their skin is?
Nope.
This is a prime example, ladies and gentlemen. A prime example right here.
Right.
Because you are putting literal shit in a place where my grandson's trying to play, my family lives, and now here's what you're going to do. You're going to retaliate by turning your fucking property into a farm.
Right. Yep. And then so today, when I was coming home, this is just stupid luck because I was like, oh, I need to park my truck. So I saw they have a sign up, and I never could see the sign. So the sign is, notice, this property is a farm. Farm animals make funny sounds, smell bad, have sex outdoors. Unless you can tolerate noise, odors, and outdoor sex, don't buy a property next to a farm, which was clearly done just to say fuck you to us.
Sure.
Just to say fuck you to us. That's how they decide they solve the problem, by being fucking assholes. And Nikki won't let me do what I want to do.
Well,
So,
and I get it because, you have a lot to lose.
yeah.
If it were me being by myself, I know exactly how I would handle it. I would just say, if you think you don't care, you haven't seen anything. Like,
Right.
I'll be waiting like patience on a monument.
Right?
Literally. Ask anybody that knows me, yourself included. If I get stubborn about something, I'm fucked, you're fucked, everybody's fucked.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to bend somebody's will, and you're in the same boat. It's like sometimes people just don't realize who they're dealing with.
No, and
it
really
doesn't have to be that way.
No, because all they would have to have done that day is say, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, we didn't realize that was causing
Hallelujah.
a foul odor on your side of the yard where little man plays.
I would be mortified if that were me as them, right?
Right. You would think, right? Because then as it progressed,
I'd be like, I'm so sorry, Chris. What fucking asshole. We're going to have a barbecue Saturday. Why don't you come on over? Well, this will definitely be taken care of.
Right,
That's how
so-
a normal,
right.
rational human being would take care of it.
right. And I could see, like, when we came in, we gentrified our lot, for lack of a better term, because we have standards that we like to live. So we removed
Your
80
property.
Right, we moved 86 tons of shit out of the front yard, including like 40 cactus and like I don't know how many plants and shit. I had landscapers coming and basically the overgrown bullshit stuff that was on both sides of the backyard, just cut it, just chop it down to nothing. You need to fucking see what's what. Well, in doing that on the side that we share with them, not realizing it, opened up the entire fucking wall, and you could see each other's backyards clear as day. So. And as soon as I came home, I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't realize that was going to open this whole thing up. Now all of a sudden the privacy is completely gone. Don't worry.
Right.
We're working on some things to make it so we have privacy back. And so I got those fabric things you can zip tie on chain link fences to create.
What was his response to that day?
They were
Out of
fine.
curiosity.
They were nothing really. It was just like, okay, it's not that big a deal type thing, whatever, I get it. You go in and clean up the mess and, because it was. But it wasn't a bad thing. It didn't get bad until we asked them to clean up after themselves. And then they said what they said and reacted the way they reacted, which then made Nikki, you don't fucking piss off a woman. So that took her to, right. So then she's like, well, if you're not going to help them, we'll come up with our own solution. So then that kind of put a crawl on them like, oh fuck, what's she going to do? And then they started backpedaling. Well, you misunderstood the text. No, we didn't misunderstand the text, dude. You clearly said you live on a rural property, which we don't. We live in a annexed portion of Queen Creek that was County Island. It's no longer County Island. You have 1 to 3 acres, and there's still rules and regulations that you have to abide by. Now the problem is it's up to us to go after them because they're breaking the rules and regulations. And if we go after them, we'll win because the rules and regulations clearly state that the homeowner has to bring up the situation, take them to court, then they would lose. They'd have to pay all our legal fees and shit, blah, blah, blah. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to be the asshole.
No. Nobody
Right.
wants to do that.
Right.
Unless you're sadistic or you got way too much time on your hands or you enjoy being in a courtroom,
Exactly. But it all stemmed from them just being filthy people. I mean, part of it's a good thing because when we first moved in, they were cordial and nice. And so they had a baby cow. So Nikki wanted to go over and see the calf that was born, which she did. When she came back, that turned her off from getting any type of livestock because the amount of shit these people just allow to stay on their land.
Not to interrupt you, but
No, you're fine.
I got a squirrel moment.
Okay.
All the way back to I'm confused somewhere because you can only have 4 horses and these people had cows. And
Yes.
is this still what I'm not lost, am I?
No, they still have all the shit. When we first moved in here, okay?
So what you're saying is to get rid of that, you would have to do all the things you just said. You would have to
I have to
enforce
file
the
right, exactly.
HOA. You would have to file in court. You'd have to retain an attorney, of course, and blah, blah, blah. Right?
There's no HOA. It's just rules and regulations. So for us,
okay.
For us to
Can't call it
basically
an HOA because it's not really an association. Gotcha.
Correct.
All
But
right.
for us,
that was another question I had.
Yeah, but for us to basically say fuck you, you have to get rid of all your animals because that's what essentially would happen. We retain an attorney, file the complaint against them, serve them, and say you're a violation of the rules and regulations because by the rules and regulations that are written and set in stone, you're allowed to have 4 horses per acre. Now, if you have 1.1
And if we're nothing
acre,
without the rules.
right, and and if you're 1.05 acres, it doesn't matter because then it goes to a different thing. So 2 acre parcels can have more. 3 and 4 and 5 acre parcels can all have more. 5 acre parcel can have up to 12 horses.
How many acres do they have at
1?
You have 1, right?
We're in the 1 acre part.
They have all this shit on 1 acre?
Mm-hmm. And not even, and I would say it's probably combined, it's confined to about a quarter to not even a third of an acre because
I live in fucking corn country, people. I'm intimately familiar with what a quarter, a half, an acre, all that shit looks like, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of animals in those small spaces.
Yeah, and it's in, so they have their house. So all the lots are the same. We're basically 211 linear feet on all 4 corners. Okay, so they have their house that's set back probably about ours, so probably say 100 feet, and then they have their garden on the east side of their front yard, and in the main front yard is they have trees and shit. So there's nothing in their front yard.
That's what I'm saying. I'm putting all that into context. You got the house, and like you're saying, now they have this extracurricular around the house. So now the animals are compressed into this even smaller space.
They're probably in a quarter of the acre.
That's fucking nuts, dude.
Because in the back they have this whole side that's kind of a pasture that they may turn out the cow and shit. But so along our wall, which here's the fucked up thing, dude. The western wall of their property, they have a neighbor that doesn't live there. He's never lived there. His mother lived there. She died years ago. He just mows the yard once a month. But they have everything on our side along our fence line where they could do it on the other side and they would have never been, and there would have never been an issue. So as a fun little
common sense moment.
Right. So another little fun thing. The pine tree that was in the corner that we wanted to build shit at so little man can hang out and play with, blah, blah, blah. We ended up not doing, so the playground's on the other side of the yard with no shade because we couldn't deal with the fact that these assholes were assholes. And we looked at the pine tree a couple of days ago thinking, you know what? The pine tree serves no purpose. It doesn't provide us shade whatsoever. It's a pain in the ass because it drops pine needles and pine cones.
Cut it down.
So we're going to cut it down. And the fun thing,
trees belong in the forest, ladies and gentlemen.
And
not next to your house. They do a lot of damage.
And when we cut it down, it's going to completely expose their chicken coop.
Oh, fantastic!
So when it's 120 degrees outside, and you have the nice 6-foot concrete wall, that you can see, there's probably a foot between the fence and their chicken coop, which again, illegal. 5 feet by Queen Creek standards, not the rules and regulations, but by the city standards.
Okay, now we're at the city standards.
All structures that house animals are supposed to be 5 feet away from the fence for noise, and for odors. Okay, so they don't even have that. So when that tree comes down after Nikki's party, and I'm going to say by the time June hits, I think I'm going to smell a lot of barbecue chicken. And then as a bonus, the fuckhead that he is, he just put on a metal roof of said chicken coop.
Oh, fantastic.
Thinking that he's going to have this giant pine tree, so, sheltering him. And it's all because they just couldn't be humans and say, yes, we'll clean this up.
Sure.
That's the whole riff. Because then it went down a whole nother path of nonsense. They had a party one night and a bunch of people parked in front of my house. I went out. I was kind of being a dick, but I'm like, why are you parking in front of my house? Like you have 200 feet.
Here's what I would do.
Yeah.
Knock, 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 or ding dong.
I can't. His door, he has a gate.
Well, text him. You guys obviously have communicated.
Mm-hmm.
Or he could, or did you not know this guy at this point? Or
no, I knew him, but we weren't. This is after the fact they were assholes. So somebody pulled up and parked in the yard, and somebody parked right behind him.
What I'm saying is he could have texted you and said, I'm having a party. Can I have a couple spots? That's what I would do. That's where I was going with it.
But here's
the
thing.
Be neighborly.
But you don't need it because we have 200 linear feet out front. So the party that he had probably had 6, 7 cars. They were parking in front of our yard, so it was less of a walk because, society's lazy.
Oh, okay.
So I went out there. I was like, can I help you? And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, why are you parking in front of my house? Well, I'm going to a party. I said, okay, we'll park in front of his house. And I looked down, past his driveway area. I'm like, there's plenty of room. And by the way, the house next to him, nobody lives there. So feel free to park even further down. And by the way, you could park across the street at Paul's house because Paul doesn't give a fuck and Paul's his friend. I, on the other hand, don't like him, so don't park in front of my yard. So the dickhead,
Fair enough.
So the asshole that he is, he gets out, he comes and parks his car, shit you not, right in my path of my walkway to my front door, and sits on it, drunk as a motherfucker, baiting me to fight him.
Oh my God.
That's the immature asshole that lives next door to me. Then they take it even further to where they'll be walking their kids to school, and normal people walk close to the edge of the street. No, they take up half the street, knowing I'm leaving because I leave the same time every day, and they're about 2 minutes ahead of me, and they take up half the street. Which, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's petty fuck you bullshit.
It's like hillbilly heaven next to you.
Right, which is totally uncalled for because the people on the other side, the Postons, super nice, down-to-earth, hardworking, family. Brian and his wife, they've watched our kids they've watched their dog when we've been gone and stuff. You got the crazy cat lady across the street. You got Paul, who's the neighborhood Karen, even though he's a man. And you got these fucks to the east of us.
It's on par with, I told you the story about trying to return the fucking router when they mailed me the box and I had to put it in the box and take it to a UPS, drop off or whatever.
Right.
Did I tell you that story?
I don't know.
So it's a quick one, but
okay. Well, we have time. That's what we do.
I'll fast forward to where I had the box. I put it in the box. I take it up there.
Okay.
The kid's like, as of October 28th, this is no longer a UPS drop-off point. And I was like, okay. And he just stood there. And I pulled my phone out and I said, as of October 9th, is it still a UPS drop-off point?
Yeah.
He's like, well, yeah. I said, well, are you trying to ruin my day? Because it's not going to happen, Like, I'll fuck you up if we're going to battle wits. I'm not real physical, but if you want to stand here and exchange words, I'll fuck you up.
Yeah.
I didn't say that. I'm just thinking that. No. I didn't say that out loud.
Gotcha.
He just said, yeah. And I was like, well, here, I need to drop this off. It's like, have a nice day or a better day or whatever, Smile, man.
Right.
Life's not that bad.
Well,
that was it. I literally was like, are you trying to ruin my day?
Yeah.
Well, no. I'm like, well, then here, I just need you to accept this. That's all I'm asking.
Right. Do your job, man.
Super simple. You pick up the thing, you go beep. Would you like an email receipt? Yes. Okay. Have a nice day. That's how easy life can be. And that's how easy your neighbor could coexist with you. It's like, why can't people be like that? I'll tell you how nice of neighbors I have.
Yeah.
I'm doing some work putting the fiber optic in, you know, and we had some trouble with the fucking concrete. And
yeah,
I go talk to Bill, 87 years old, lives behind me. He was ready to dig up the concrete himself. I'm like, no, Bill, that's not what I'm asking you to do. I just need to borrow some tools. And he says, while I got you here, I need to talk to you. And I'm like, oh, fuck, you think you're in trouble. Right. So he pulls me back on the patio there and said, I'm thinking about cutting my tree down there because it's hanging right where you sleep. If big storm comes and that half falls, it's going to crush your house. And I know your bedroom's right there. What do you think about me cutting that tree down?
Because this is you or him?
He's talking to me.
Okay.
That's why he wanted to talk to me, was to say he's going to pay for it and everything. It's his tree. But he wondered if I wanted the shade or if it bothered me if he was cutting it down. And then, of course, he needed to drop it between my shed and my house, right?
Yeah.
My concrete's all busted up, so I just joked with him. And I said, I got that concrete broke up just how I like it. So if, the tree busts it anymore, I guess we're going to have a problem. And we both started laughing,
Right.
I'm just saying that's my relationship with all my neighbors because my sister and my brother-in-law live to the north of me, and a family we've known forever because my sister was friends with their daughter lives to the south of me. And the guy that used to drive my bus lives on the corner, catty corner from me. I know everybody in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's
Right, 'cause you have-
fantastic.
yeah, right. And
I
that's
didn't want anybody that knows me now to think I had bad neighbors when I said I've experienced that before. That's when I lived in that house on Indigo. The lady that lived next door to me,
yeah.
her kid was always busting our sprinkler heads and fucking parking his truck over in the grass and just an asshole, and she would never do anything about it. I get it.
Well, and see, when we moved in this neighborhood,
We were poor back then, man. We couldn't afford a sprinkler head.
right, but this is one of those old school, like my entire street, okay, everybody's house was built in the 70s except us. We were built in 96, okay? So, like, the crazy cat lady across the street, Trish and Linda, who, fucking trespassed the cat shit, they've probably been there 30 years. Paul's been there probably 30 years. The Postons next door have been here since inception. The house that Brian Doreen lived in were actually the Postons family members, like a brother or something, and they lived there since inception, and they sold when COVID hit. Jim at the end of the street's probably been there since inception. The guy across from Jim, who nobody ever sees, we all kind of think he's dead, and the kids are hiding the body so they can live there and cash the checks.
Weekend at Bernie's.
Right, he's been there probably since inception. You can tell because of the way that the cushion of the house and the yard and how the neglect and stuff. Because the older you are, the longer you've lived somewhere, the more you neglect it. It's just you just run out of the ability to do shit, and most people don't hire somebody to do things. They just let it get out of control, and the neighbors complain, and they complain to the city, like the guy in the corner. He'll let his weeds and shit go. There's nothing in his yard. He's got an empty pool that's probably just a fucking cesspool back there. His fences are falling down. I mean, that house is just in dire straits. I can't imagine what the inside looks like. And there's about 6-7 people that live there right now. Which
The outside always dictates what the inside partially works with.
100%.
It's very rare, and there are instances.
Very rare.
My sister has a story about I think it's the people that live next door to her. You would never imagine it, but she said the inside wasn't as bad as you would imagine. That's a rare instance. Usually it looks horrible, like a hoarder,
100%, man. 100%.
I can't even watch that show. It gives me fucking OCD so bad. It's like,
you ain't lying.
Terrible.
Yeah. So that being said, you have people that are set in their ways and like
it's just unfortunate that you have to be right next to them.
I know. And it's one of those things that and the problem with it was when we bought the house, we bought it from a corporation. We didn't buy it from the individuals. They sold it to an iBuyer. The iBuyer turned around, lipsticked it, and boom, here you go. Here's your house. So there was no disclosures. There was no conversations with, being able to ask the owner, hey, how are your neighbors, things like that. You couldn't do it. And then when we first moved in, they didn't have the extent of animals they have now. They had one cow. They had maybe 3 or 4 chickens. But unless you regulate chickens, and if you have roosters and shit, you're going to have more chickens. So they also claimed that I killed a chicken because I was out in my irrigation ditch, taking care of my irrigation ditch because it's our land, so we're obligated to take care of it. So I was pulling weeds and shit. Then I sprayed some grass killer down. Shit you not, they say that I took my grass killer thing that I had on my back, went like this.
Do they have proof?
No, because I didn't fucking do it.
I know that, but that's what I would say to them. Are you going to prosecute me? Do you have proof?
Right.
Otherwise, it didn't happen.
Right. It's fucking amazing, man, that so many people fucking just. And so when they said that I
so
killed
did they
chicken,
find the chicken dead on their property?
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
So, but I'm like, holy, and so when we were still kind of on speaking terms, I'm like, holy shit, I didn't kill your chicken. There's no way my spray went that way. More than happy to buy you a new one, up at Ace Hardware because they sell them, like legit.
Right.
Because,
I know.
Because I'm a fucking human.
I live in farm country, buddy.
Right, but I'm a human. Like, oh shit, I'm my bad. Let me fix the problem for you.
Absolutely, like any normal human being would do.
Now, knowing that we're breaking the rules because we have 4 chickens and we're not allowed to have 4 chickens, chickens die. We've had 2 chickens die.
They do.
One died because it was too hot.
Have you ever heard of the bird flu?
Right. They just die. So we had 2 die. One died because she got an egg stuck.
They're fucking
inside.
Dinosaurs, man.
Right.
Let's not feel too bad for the chickens.
No. And
they have no feelings whatsoever.
No. Thanks to McDonald's. One died because an egg was stuck, and that's a real thing. An egg gets stuck, and they just fucking die, and it died. And when it died, and it killed over and it passed, there was a black fucking egg that just came out of the limp body. The other one died because it was fucking hot. It's fucking Arizona. It's 120 degrees in the summer.
Gets super hot.
Right. So even though we had things in place, it still fucking died because it was hot. But it's my fault because they found one chicken dead. Okay. And think about the logic. They probably had 15, 20 chickens. So if I'm doing this with my grass killer, I would have killed more than one. Stands to reason.
You know why? You have common sense. I mean, if you were standing in a court of law and both sides presented their story where the guy went over the top of my fence and he killed one chicken. And the first question I would ask as an attorney is, how many chickens do you have, sir?
Right.
How many does he have?
Probably 40 by now. But back then, maybe 10.
Okay. I had 10 chickens and only one died from fucking supposed Roundup weed killer, or
exactly
the equivalent strength.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that would never happen. It would kill probably 4 or 5.
Exactly. Or you'd have them all. They'd all die. Because if I truly poison their chickens or their chicken. So it's that. They just reach for shit because.
You know what I've come to find with people with that personality?
What's that?
They think they're battling wits on the same level as them.
Right. Exactly.
And that's a huge disadvantage to them, of course.
Yeah.
It's like, I really feel like you're trying to battle intellectually with me on your level, and that's painful for me.
Uh-huh.
Because you're not talking common sense. I mean, some things are just common sense. Most things are common sense.
Yeah.
Did I do wrong or did I not, is this being misconstrued? Like the whole, did I kill your chicken scenario?
Mm-hmm.
There's just there's no like rhyme or reason to those people because they don't deal in things that make sense to normal people.
No, and it doesn't. And they I don't know. It's a tiring thing because no matter what we do, we're always wrong. They're never wrong, which is mind-boggling because we didn't start the problem. We just legitimately, please clean up your mess.
Yeah.
Just clean up your mess, and then there's no problem. No problem at all.
The whole thing could have been rectified right then and there. That's the fascinating part about it all.
Right. Well, that and his fucking little yellow sign, don't buy a property next to a farm. Motherfucker, you're not allowed to have a farm. You're allowed to have 4 horses.
Right.
That's it.
That's a far cry from a farm. I live about 2 blocks from real farms.
Oh, yeah.
They're gigantic,
Yeah.
And they got lots of cows and lots of horses and lots of pigs.
Well, and that's the thing that they don't understand. Like I worked.
But they're way away from everything. Like, we don't smell them here. When they bring them into the sale barn every now and then, the wind's blowing just right. It's kind of horrible, but that's like, a week a year or something. Or I don't know. I'm not into that, but very rarely do you live next to a farm. And we live in a fairly small town. There's only 12,000 people here, something like that.
Right, and I think part of the problem is that when we moved in, they thought, oh, city slickers, these people don't belong. Motherfuckers, I've killed cows, I've castrated cows.
But the point is,
I've done everything.
You're not living out in the country, so to speak. That's what they don't understand. It's like,
no, they think they're living in the country, and they're not. You're not living in the country. Sorry, it's not the country. It's Power Road and Chandler Heights. It's the city.
Real farms have thousands of acres, not one. You could get lost on a real farm.
You can, absolutely.
I don't know the way home, especially at night.
Right? You don't go in the cornfield for a reason.
Well, it's not all lit up like the city,
No, exactly.
You better hope the fucking moon's out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Fuckers, man. So what else is going on? I'm tired of talking about them. They're assholes.
Oh, well, here. Since we actually asked him to, he did.
What's that?
Just so we know that people actually listen to the podcast, you don't talk about things, and we asked Tony to chime in on the jelly roll.
Yeah.
He did.
Right on.
Sitting there at break at work today, and bing, phone goes off, and Tony Palmer.
Cool.
So I won't read. I'll read you his initial response off the air, but I'll read you what he sent me today because it started off with, I think that you caught me in a mood the other day. So I'll read you his original one, which you'll totally appreciate.
Okay.
I don't think he wants it public. If he does, he can say it himself.
Yeah.
But he said, after some sleep and re-examination of my previous text, I will try to rephrase. Although apparently Mr. DeFord, which is his real name, D. Ford, D, little e, capital F, O-R-D. That's Jelly Roll, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Although apparently Mr. DeFord has some kind of following by a certain percentage of the populace whose tendencies to listen, support, and somehow enjoy his style of music meanderings, in my humble opinion, I did not find enjoyment or pleasure, nor did Sunshine. Her and I talked about it. She was at work today. So, in his rather off-key and vocally problematic rendering of the song Mama, I'm Coming Home by the artist John Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, John Michael Osbourne.
Yes.
Yep.
But affectionately referred to as Ozzy.
Ozzy. Oh, absolutely.
Who was being rightfully inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame the other evening. Mr. DeFord, known professionally as Jelly Roll, in my opinion, missed the mark in his sonic and musical adaptation of the aforementioned song.
Yep.
It seems to me that the supposed talent of the artist Jelly Roll was not a good representation of Mr. Osborne's style, which you said, and I agreed with, and now he agrees with. And it was not enjoyable to me personally. Sorry, I fucking keep punching my phone.
It's okay. It's okay.
Mr. DeBland would have a difficult time, in my humble opinion, carrying a vessel of urine without a mishap and would most probably drown himself in the attempt. I knew you'd like this.
Right.
Sadly, if the golden testicles, figuratively speaking, of Mr. Ozzy were to react to heat, humidity, or other environmental elements causing external moisture, sweat, to form,
right,
would not and could not be cleansed properly of said moisture effectively by Mr. Jelly Roll, or properly pronounced Jelly Hole, to satisfactory conclusion. My hopes are that my sound receiving orifices will never again be tortured in the way that mine and many others were from that dismal performance the other evening.
Thank you, Tony.
Of course, this is only my opinion, and opinions like jelly holes are open to smelly and offensive secretion.
Oh, even better.
Thank you for mentioning me as a potential opinion holder on this subject on you and your partner's very excellent podcast. Please accept my apologies for any grammar or spelling, blah, blah, blah. Thank you.
Tony, right on, dude. God. Fucking, you and I are going to get along just fine.
Dude, when I got to the end, I'm crying now. I was crying then. I'm like, that was brilliant. So thank you, Tony. Yeah. We appreciate all your support. And he said that things are slowing down for him. So here in the next probably 6 weeks, he said before the end of the month, I'll give him till the middle of December, but he definitely wants to come on and we'll hash it out. So
right on.
Once again, brother, thanks for taking the time to give us your always humble
But see, it justifies my opinion of Jelly Roll.
Yes,
because I don't fucking care about Jelly Roll. I don't listen to Jelly Roll. I could care less. All I knew is there was an artist paying homage to a legend that there is no ties to.
That's the problem.
And if there was ties, if Jelly Roll grew up listening to Sabbath, then what the fuck is he doing singing sappy ass country music when he go to sleep?
And I think it's very important for me to make a distinction here real quick. And I think I speak for all three of us because we've all been in the music industry at some level for our entire lives, adult lives for sure. We're not saying that Jelly Roll is not talented at what he does. He has a huge following. And I said on the podcast, I like that song, whatever it is, Sinner's Prayer or whatever. I like that song. I just do.
Which is cool. Yeah, which is cool.
But to Chris's point, he does not have a tie to Ozzy, Black Sabbath that we know of in any way. Right. And if he did, he would know enough that it means the world to us. If you're going to cover a legend's songs or a band's songs, you better fucking do it right.
Right.
And you go see a cover band and they start playing Limelight.
Right.
You're like, oh,
yeah, right.
Good luck.
Now, I understand the same token too. Billy Idol fucking sucked. Billy Idol was fucking terrible. Billy Idol was so
that was
bad
in another text
that he didn't belong on stage either. So we're not just calling out Jelly Roll.
No.
We called out both of them. Specifically, I called out both of them because I'm a vocalist and I'm a lyricist and I'm a
Tony
singer.
did too.
So when you have somebody...
He mentioned him in a different text.
Okay, good. That's supposed to pay homage to an artist that's being inducted. If you look at all the bands prior to him and all the solo artists prior to him that are still alive, mind you, I think that most of them somehow, shape, or form, they're involved in the jam at some level. You know, even if the singer's not like... I know Steve Perry showed up. I know Steve Perry showed up when they got inducted, but he didn't sing. But he was still involved in it. Like, so... Ozzy's got, you know, unfortunately, Ozzy's, you know, his life has caught up to him. It took a very long fucking time to catch up to his brain.
Than anybody thought.
Right, but it's definitely caught up to him and his cognitive ability and shit and understanding and, you know, understanding what's going on around him and shit, because he looked terrible. He looked fucking old and fractured and weak and you know, like, you know, face reality, boys and girls. Ozzy's not going to be around very much longer.
The word hard does not even begin to describe that guy's life.
Oh no, absolutely not. And it was hard by choice,
self-imposed,
right?
Yeah, well,
yes.
Self-imposed or not.
Yes.
Just
yes.
even like you discussed on one of the last, you know, 2 or 3 podcasts, just the simple touring lifestyle. Had he had look at Mick Jagger. I mean, Mick Jagger is still, for all intent and purposes, the epitome of health, right?
Yeah.
But eventually, time catches up with all of us. The fucker could drop dead tomorrow. I mean, you don't know. You know?
You know, and hopefully, and that's the thing. I'm bringing up Mick Jagger. He's in his 70s, and he's still pulling that shit off. But he also works out. Like, it's documented his regiment and what he does in his routine. It's kind of like Tom Brady, you know, the GOAT quarterback in the NFL. I don't, if you love him or hate him, and, you know, I'm a Giants fan. You can't argue that. Fuck Tom Brady. But he changed his approach to everything, like in his 10th year, because he saw something. He wanted longevity.
Fucker won 7 Super Bowl rings.
Right. So should have won 9.
Agree.
But him changing his diet and how he lived his life and the discipline of the exercise and nutrition and going to bed early and missing out on so much shit gave him the longevity that he is now. Whereas somebody like if Aaron Rodgers would have adhered to that policy, I think Aaron would be a better quarterback than he is, but he's just not. He's Aaron Rodgers needs to go away. Like, dude, just call it a day. You're not
agreed.
You're not good anymore. You're just embarrassing yourself because you're missing throws and shit that you used to make all the time. And you still may hit something that's fantastic, but you know, it's you just move on, man. Just call it a career, dude. There's nothing left for you to prove.
Look how long Steven Tyler made it, and his fucking vocal cord shattered. The doctor said he had, like, basically never seen anything like that before, where his vocal cord literally just shattered.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. The motherfucker's been singing Dream On since 1976, maybe? 5?
Yeah. And they lived, him and Joe Perry, the Toxic Twins. Google that shit, boys and girls, the Toxic Twins. They fucking lived. They had a stretch of from hard-ass fucking living. Yeah, they were. If I remember this correctly, they were fucking bankrupt. Like, they had no money. That's why Aerosmith got back together.
Super true. We can hear those stories from Tony because he was there and he's friends with all those guys, so he will be able to tell some serious stories about Aerosmith, and I look forward to that for sure. Yeah, because I think you're right. They were just down to
nothing. That's like the Who was broke. I don't know how the Who could be broke either, but they went up. They reunited
to make
money, probably.
Heroin was a big deal back then.
Oh, sure.
It was a big deal.
Absolutely.
Then it seemed like it went away for a while because Coke became super popular.
Right.
And then heroin became a big deal again during the grunge era. Obviously, we lost a lot of our famous musicians during that time.
Yep.
And then I'm not sure what happened. Technology took over, I guess. But
yeah, and now you don't have to sing. You can just be auto-tuned. I could go in the studio like, sweet child mine, sweet sweet child mine.
Yeah, if you get close, I could pull that right back into pitch.
Right, that's what I'm saying, man. It's fucking sad. I told you last week. I think I was at EOS working out, and this thing came on. They play videos every now and then. This band came on, and then straight up, dude, it was all electric. The whole fucking vocal was electric.
But when you hear that, sometimes that's intended, and I fucking hate that to no end. Right, that style of delivery, for lack of a better term, producing. Right,
right.
That vocal style, I fucking hate. But the one I hate even more is the person that just sang like you did.
Yeah.
Yes. Nowadays, ladies and gentlemen, you can pull that fucking fingernails on a chalkboard back into pitch. But you singing in the studio with me playing guitar and you following, us coming up with the melody together, you're going to sound natural because you're hitting every note, right? We work it out.
Right.
The guy who got close, you've heard it. That's super noticeable too, right? When they auto-tune that voice. And that one grates on me more than the one that's intended, because at least the one that's intended is, it's supposed to be like that, right? That
exactly.
Like, oh my God, fuck, I can't. But I kind of,
I know what you're saying. I agree with you.
I diss on the guy who's not able to sing that uses auto-tune more than the one that doesn't intentionally.
Oh yeah, agreed. And I just, and Jelly Roll obviously uses auto-tune because Jelly Roll can't sing to fucking save his life. Just saying, man. Just saying.
Have you heard any of his original music?
No, I haven't. Because
It's not that bad.
There's some people that I just don't have any desire to listen to, and he's one of them. And then what he did to Ozzy's song just kind of,
I get it. Well, you did. No, you're not being recorded. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking to Chris, and he's not able to talk to you, so I am definitely not talking to myself. It gave him an error message that said he didn't have enough space on his computer, so he's rebooting it right now. So anyway, I will encourage people to go over to the Instagram page. If you have an Instagram account and you're not following us there, I could use a little more support so I can unlock some of those features that will help us bring you better content. So if you have friends that you think would enjoy our clips that we put on there, we don't post the entire podcast because obviously if you know about Instagram, you can't do that. So we post little clips there, so definitely come over and start following us. Hey, welcome back.
It has that weird shit it's saying my browser doesn't have enough space, man. I don't know why.
Yeah, but you're being recorded again.
Yeah, issue browser doesn't have enough storage. Recording has stopped. What should I do? But I'm being recorded. I'm back here now. Cuckoo.
Yeah, you got the record light now.
It's weird, man. So we're gonna have 2 shows out of this.
No, I just talked to him while you were gone.
It's just a gap in the.
I just talked to him while you're gone. I invite people to come over and, sign up for the Instagram account, tell their friends about the Instagram account. You even came back a different person. Fantastic.
Why the fuck not,
now that I'm on the fiber and you're able to reboot that fast, I just talked to him in the meantime.
Cool.
Yeah, worked perfectly.
All right, I'm deleting browsing history in my other window while I'm here to see if that helps. Is it, because that's weird. I don't want to go through that shit again. That would be a drag.
Well, it's just strange because last week we were like at an hour and 55 minutes or something, if I remember right, when I posted it.
Dude, that's weird. I couldn't hear you. I could hear you, but I couldn't hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but not in my headphones.
Really?
Yeah.
How are you hearing me?
I don't know. I'm just fucking. I thought I was on my headphones here.
Hello?
Oh, wait a minute. There we go. Can you hear me now?
Did you get it now?
There it is. Weird.
Hey, there we go.
What the fuck is going on with this shit?
Hey,
man?
welcome back. Little technical difficulties. Back in the day, ladies and gentlemen, your TV would go,
yeah,
and there would be this, warning sign.
I'd be like,
what
what the
technical
fuck?
Difficulties.
Right?
I just talked to you about it now.
Yeah.
We work our way through it.
So fucking weird, man. Yeah,
if people knew
right?
what it took to get this podcast to them 2,000 miles apart, they would be like,
yeah.
So if you asked me if I had it to do over again, would I do it over again? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'd be like, fuck, I didn't know it was going to be like that. I had to upgrade my internet. I had to buy a badass computer. We had to sign up for a recording service. There was a lot of legwork involved. I had to consult Tony to build a studio to make this audio sound good.
I had to make a logo. I had to make a YouTube channel. This is Mike's.
You've
baby.
done a lot of.
I'm along for the ride.
No, you've done a lot of advertising and promotion.
Well, yeah. Yeah, it's just
that's what I was counting on you to do anyway. I handle the technical side. I've always done that.
That's.
I'm not complaining. I'm just like I didn't.
No.
When I bought the original equipment and I set it up and everything was just such, I kind of started to realize why Tony said the carpeting had to come out, because there were certain things that didn't sound good,
Sure.
Things that people tell you that they've experienced right away, hey, this isn't going to work. So putting the floors in helped a lot. And then right away, I knew that for what I wanted to do, this converter that you're using now wasn't going to cut it. So it's just crazy.
Did you know the bottom stuff has you can do a teleprompter on this shit?
That's all new. Yeah. They've added a ton of features, dude.
Crazy, man.
Yeah.
Jot down a script to use during recording. That's fucking cool.
Yeah, so if there's anybody, and I know there's people out there that are listening to this strictly because they've been interested in doing podcasts, that are friends of mine.
Yeah. Hi,
so
hi friends.
You guys out there that actually want to do that, Riverside is by far, in my opinion, the best platform. The other one I see a lot of people talking about is a company called Buzzsprout. You can go to buzzsprout.com, and they do the same thing. But what these people do is they basically provide you a way to get high-definition video and CD quality or broadcast quality audio out to your listeners.
Right on.
Originally, Chris, I had the same idea. I was like, Zoom is free. We wanted to do that. The reason that Zoom doesn't work is because the whole platform is built on a video conferencing. They never really thought about audio. And when they did think about audio, they thought about compressing it to the point where it, just doesn't sound very good. That's how they make their video free and the streaming quality good, I guess is where I was going with that. Right
on. That's cool.
Riverside must have some really robust servers, and they're borrowing, obviously, as Chris just found out, they're borrowing part of your browser storage.
Yeah, they are.
Which is what makes it work. And for the most part, it is seamless. I was just going to say there's technical difficulties sometimes. That was a very long-winded way of saying there's technical difficulties.
But, the education of the technical difficulties is good, man. So, way to go there. Way to go there.
Yeah, there might be some young buck out there that wants to do their own podcast, and it is possible.
It is possible. Absolutely.
I didn't even find it remotely a feasible idea till you and a few others kept kicking me in the ass to actually go through with it. So once again, thank you to those people.
You're welcome.
We're having a good time.
So yesterday I went down where
just
I
here
work,
for a good time.
Right where I work. I work in Phoenix. Like my office is in Phoenix. So I took a walk. Walkabout. I ended up recording 12 different businesses, mom and pop stuff. Met a bunch of cool ass fucking people.
I love those days.
And the whole reason I did it is because my coach was like, motherfucker, you need some area content. I'm like, what are you talking about area content? He's like, when you list something, you need to get the area so that when people Google Portland on the Park high-rise condos, what is there around there when they Google, where's the coffee shop near Portland on the Park? Well, there's a Valley Coffee Shop. So I went in Valley Coffee Shop, and then the tattoo shop, and then the milk and honey food store, and the taco cholo spot, taco cello they call it. What the fuck are they? A little dumpling shop with these two chicks, and then they had this sign. As I was walking back to the office, it's a funny sign. I took a picture of it because it's that funny. It said, "Sexy, stoned, hungry, eat dumplings now." Because they're
that's awesome. He's showing me a picture of it for those of you who are just listening, and that's exactly what it says.
Yeah, it's Love Bite dumpling, only $12 a box. I'm like, holy shit, that's classic. And it was just one of those things that I saw as I was walking back,
That's hilarious.
It was cool. It took like 2 hours, but met some cool people, cool owners. I went to a barbershop, the Roosevelt barbershop that's been there for over
barbershop.
Fucking A, man. And she's like, oh, absolutely, come in, do your thing. Nobody's here, I was like, right on, and took my hat off. I'm like, I don't need to be here, but other than helping you grow your business. And
I'm real good at shaving my head.
Yeah, it was cool. I told her when I go and get rid of this, I'll come back. I'll come in and they can straight razor me because I've done that before. It's a cool thing to do at a barbershop if you shave your head. Let it grow for a couple days. Same with your face, and then go in and have them straight razor you. It's legit. It's a nice experience because they kind of clip it all down to where it's nothing, and then they straight razor it, and you get the hot towels and the lotion. It's a nice little fucking thing to do. And I have a perfect head for it, so never cut myself anything. You know, it's a legit little. It takes about an hour to do it, but it's a cool thing to do if you've never done it. Highly recommend doing it. But you got to find an old school barbershop. The ones that you know what I'm talking about. When you walk in, you smell.
Oh, yeah.
You smell that aura, that scent.
Yeah, that's where I used to go as a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
1975, man. Jerry's Barbershop.
Yeah, I was Cope's Rofflers.
My feet didn't touch the floor, and I was sitting there with a bunch of people who were, super old.
And and being mindful what they said because that little mic's in here, you'll be fucking dropping the F-bomb now.
They give me pennies, and I go get gumballs from the gumball machine. It's fucking great. Pennies,
go,
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
pennies.
penny gumballs. Yeah,
yeah.
I remember that, man.
And the gumball machine was like at least twice as tall as I was. So
right,
awesome, great memories.
It is great memories, man. So check this out.
Back when I used to have hair.
This is a fun little thing. Seeing as we're recording this on election day, and this is the only thing we're going to talk about.
I voted.
Elections.
My stickers in the kitchen.
So did I. So I got this.
Who did I vote for?
Michael R. Michaels.
You can say it.
Michael
that is
R.
legitimate, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
legitimate.
Yeah. So I get this thing every now and then. It's called Interesting Facts. It's like an online newspaper. Okay. Astronauts can vote absentee from space. As human exploration has evolved, trips off-world have grown longer and longer. In 1961, Yuri Gagarin spent less than 2 hours in orbit. Today, it's common for astronauts to stay for 6 months to a year, like those ones that are stuck there until February. I think they're coming back. Remember we talked about that?
Absolutely. They're still there, folks.
Right.
So many podcasts later, they're still there. Poor fucking saps.
Right. So a pivotal moment occurred in September 96 when NASA astronaut John Blaha went to the Russian space station Mir for a 118-day stay and completely missed voting in the 1996 presidential election. In response, Texas State Senator Mike Jackson proposed legislation to allow astronauts to vote in space. Notably, many astronauts live in Texas because they train at the Johnson Space Center in Houston. In 1997, NASA astronaut David Wolf, who was also aboard the Mir, became the first astronaut to successfully vote in space. Wolf told The Atlantic in 2016, The Atlantic, for those of you who don't know, is a magazine, that he was particularly moved by the experience, saying that voting makes a person feel like part of a civilization somewhere.
That's why I did it.
So even though he's flying, even though the idea of voting from a tin can some 254 miles above the planet may sound complex, the actual process is straightforward. The county clerk from the astronaut's home state sends an electronic ballot to NASA. At the same time, an encrypted electronic ballot is sent to the orbiting astronaut via NASA's space network, which manages all data and communication from the ISS to ground crews. The astronaut fills out the ballot, even putting low Earth orbit on the address line, and sends it back. And sends it back using NASA's tracking and data relay satellite to a ground antenna in New Mexico. NASA then sends the ballot to Johnson Space Center and then onto the appropriate county clerk.
That's fucking awesome.
Throughout, only the clerk and the astronaut have access to the encrypted ballot to preserve its security. The entire process unfolded during the 2020 election when NASA astronaut Kate Rubin submitted her ballot, calling it an honor to be able to vote from space.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's cool as hell, man.
That is cool as hell.
That's a huge accomplishment just for, mankind, humanity.
Right.
Like we voted from space.
So, and here, while we're on the topic of space, boys and girls, record-setting number of days Russian cosmonaut Valery Polakov spent continuously at the Mir space station, 437.
I just saw that clip.
Right.
Here's
record
one.
number.
Go ahead.
Okay,
No, go ahead.
Record number of people who voted in a 2019 national election in India, known as the world's largest democracy, 614 million.
614 million people voted
in India.
Are they not saying? I know we're not going to have that many because we don't have that many people that live here. So
Right.
Aren't they saying though that we're having super high voter turnout for this time?
I'm thinking so, but you know me in news, I stay away. I've been snoozing so many things lately that it's
based
just,
on what I just told Chris when I went to my polling station. But I went there at 2:00 in the afternoon. I took off early, ladies and gentlemen, because I wanted to go do my civic duty, even though I don't think it means a fucking. That's a topic for another day.
Oh,
but anyway,
yeah,
there was like nobody there.
Here's two other interesting things about space. Approximate speed in miles per hour the International Space Station travels to stay in Earth orbit. 17,500 miles per hour.
I was going to guess 20.
But here's something I didn't know.
I knew it was fast.
Here's something that I didn't know that I find I'm rather disturbed about, because the cost that it costs to build the ISS and how to keep that fucking thing in space and all the fucking different, things back and forth. In 2031, the ISS will be decommissioned and crashed into the Pacific Ocean.
2031?
They're crashing the fucking thing.
Just because it's too expensive?
Into the Pacific Ocean. I don't know why.
Well, I think I know why. I think it's outlived its effectiveness, and it's not worth the money to... Usually when they do shit like that, they've moved on, right? We're ready to go to Mars.
Wait,
we're at least ready to go to the moon.
I don't want to go to Mars. I don't understand.
You're not going to go. Some stupid fucking moron that signed up. Over 250,000 people have nothing better in their life than to get on a ship for a one-way mission to a planet that they don't know what the fuck's going to happen. That's fascinating to me.
It is, but I don't understand why.
We can't live here forever. We just know that in our DNA.
But I just don't understand why we're wanting to go.
It's
to
in our
Mars.
nature. It's in our. We're explorers, man. You don't want to go, and I don't want to go. We want to go on tour of the world playing music. We have different aspirations, but there's people that want to terraform another planet. That means something to them, and I think that's ingrained in our DNA. I think it's so deep that unless you really think about it at that level, which I've done a lot, you can't really put yourself in that perspective because we don't think that way, right? We can't put ourselves in that frame of mind. But there's people out there that, thankfully, to preserve humanity at some point, I think we have to leave this place. I just do. Yeah,
I'm going to be dead by then. So are you. So
that's why I'm saying it's ingrained in our DNA. That's why I think unless you really think about it, you can't understand it. It's maybe 1,000 years down the road if we don't fucking blow ourselves up with a nuclear bomb, right?
Yeah. I don't fucking know. Movies tell us that you don't go to Mars. I'm just Total Recall, man. There's been 2 of them. One was the original, one was remade, and the end result was the same, man. We're not supposed to be on Mars. We're not supposed to be on the moon. You don't inhabit. They're there for a reason. Like the moon is a purpose. It has a purpose as a planet, and we shouldn't go up there and fuck around with it, man.
The moon could not be any more strategically placed if they tried.
That's what I'm saying. Just fucking leave it alone. Like
probably what they're saying is it probably was strategically placed.
Right. So here's the thing: if it's a fear of population and overrunning the world,
the moon's just going to be a way station. We're not going to terraform the moon. We can't. Right. It's not possible.
So we're gonna. So that's going to be like we're
going to be Star Trek, man.
Okay, so we're going to fly to the moon, and then from the moon we change spaceships and we fly to Mars.
Yes.
Okay, so it's kind of like a giant.
My understanding is it's a way station. Yes,
it's a giant terminal in the sky.
Yes. Here, I'll bring you way back. It's America West Airlines. How long have they been out of business?
Well, didn't Southwest Airlines buy them?
Oh, did they? Yeah, probably.
I think so. Yeah. So 50%.
I just took you to the Wayback Machine.
Yeah. So 50% of the Earth is unused.
What I'm saying is 1,000 years down the road, the fucking sun might have burned out, and we don't know what's going to happen. Like, everything's on borrowed time in this universe because we don't understand physics well enough to know really anything, a fucking asteroid could hit us tomorrow. We don't know.
This is true. You got really robot-y on that. and I think it might be because I was doing my research.
Oh, am I back?
Oh, holy shit. Okay, so how much the Earth is unused, why it matters. A new study finds that just 5% of the Earth's land surface is currently unaffected by humans, far lower than previous estimates of 19%. 95% of the Earth's land surface has some indication of human modification, while 84% has multiple human impacts. The study found is as far as this was in January 2019.
Yeah, the problem is we all fucking congregated like ants in these population centers. We were never meant to live that way. Humanity was meant to live in tribes of 50, maybe 150 at the most. That's it.
Yeah. So we just need to come up with something that will purge the planet of people that don't need to be here. Is what it comes like. We need to put a stop on births for like 10 years, and then come up with, the government will come up with something that will just crop dust countries and get rid of like get 40% of the population just to die. I mean,
just get them all to take mushrooms and chill out.
Yeah, or something to that effect. But. Like China, you can't have babies in China, right? Or is it that you?
Oh, they're easing up on that because that backfired on them.
Right, because they have more girls than boys, or something, or vice versa.
In my opinion, China is becoming. They're thinking more in the right direction, and I think a lot of ways we're thinking more in the wrong direction.
Oh.
They figured out that shit doesn't work. They figured out that they have to be capitalistic. Actually, they're the most capitalistic just by sheer volume on Earth now.
Even though they're communism, they're capitalisms, the capitalists, capitalist communists. That's interesting.
Yes. So they have control. Here's an interesting fact that a lot of people don't know. If you open a business, like let's say, we'll use Boeing for example, because they're the ones that found out real quick how China does business.
Okay.
So Boeing goes in there in whatever year. Let's say it was 1965. I have no fucking idea.
Okay.
They were one of the first companies to say, hey, we can build our shit cheaper in China, right?
Mm-hmm.
I watched this on a documentary. I think it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
So at a certain point, the Chinese government contacted Boeing and said, your services, so backing all the way up, you have to give up 51% of the factory that you're opening in China to the Chinese government. They own it, right?
Oh.
You get 49, you give up 51. That's the deal. If you don't like that, you're not building your fucking factory, right?
Okay.
So Boeing said, great. So they go in there and they build for, let's say, 35 years, 40 years. One day, knock on the door, your services are no longer required. And Boeing says, what do you mean? And they said, we're going to build a factory right next door to you, and we're going to build our own planes, so get the fuck out of our country.
Oh.
Yeah. So basically, they just let us do our business there for cheap for a long time, and if it means something to them, they steal our shit and then build it themselves.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
So those of you who think I'm talking out my ass, Google it. You can fact check me. I might be paraphrasing a lot of stuff, and if you want to, fill me in where I'm wrong, but that was the extent of that documentary was this is how the Chinese does business, and this is exactly what happened to Boeing. They were kicked out of the country because the Chinese wanted to build their own planes, and why wouldn't you? We can do it cheaper, right?
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
So I think in a lot of ways, we're finding out that maybe we should be doing a lot of stuff ourselves. And we have. We figured out other ways to get oil. We figured out that certain steel mills had to open back up to keep us going during COVID, and those steel mills are still going. Mm-hmm. So, we've made strides in the right direction. Detroit's coming back,
Oh, that's good. And that. See, I was thinking so
all is not lost, man.
Yeah, so I'm not going political, but like all this shit they're talking about, make food less expensive, cost of living expect. The government can't control that shit, but what they can control is stop fucking GMOing everything, bring the farmers back to do what they were born to do. Like I have a client that works for a company in Casa Grande, right? And he sells seeds and grains and all kinds of shit to farmers and whatnot. a lot of the corn that's grown in Arizona is used for feed in other countries.
Sure.
Like,
and a
what the
lot of
fuck?
corn that's grown around here, and I welcome, because like I said, I live in the middle of
Yeah,
literally millions of acres of fucking farmland.
right.
If there's a farmer that I know that listens to this podcast, or somebody that knows a farmer that would like to come on here and tell their story about, how farming goes today, and I really have no idea, so I'm not going to start hammering. I've heard about, the government pays for this and the government pays for that, but I think a farmer would come on and say, yeah, but here's what you're missing, and that's the side of the story I would love people to be able to tell, you know?
Because from what I understand, the government's taken out the middleman, so the farmer doesn't fucking make any money anymore.
And that's probably the truth, and I would love to give somebody a platform to be able to tell that side of the story.
Agreed. Because, I mean, my thing is this. If back in the 70s, right, when we were kids, 70s and 80s, the farmers were making food for our country. That what they grew, there's shit here in Arizona. You remember Bash's homegrown restaurant,
absolutely.
homegrown grocery store. So there's a lot of stuff that's grown in Yuma that's brought to the Fries and the Bashes, but it's not a nationwide thing, because I have family in Illinois that have farmland and were farmers my uncle's still a farmer to this day. I don't think he farms it as much as he leases the farmland out to be farmed.
And that's popular when you get older, sure.
Right, but what he grows is feed. He doesn't grow it for human consumption. What he grows is feed. And he was a big soy farmer, big corn farmer, and wheat farmer, and it was all for feed. It wasn't, I'm sorry, when he started it was for human consumption. As it evolved,
sure,
it turned to their generating feed. So like the alfalfa and shit that's grown here, none of it is edible for humans. It's all fucking feed.
You mentioned earlier that, a lot of your Arizona corn is going offshore for feed. A lot of our corn that's grown in this part of the country is going to ethanol, right? Iowa, Illinois, some of the biggest corn producing. We are overproducing corn at a fucking level that is unprecedented in human history. There used to be a documentary on, it was online somewhere. You can Google it. I'm sure it's still there. It's called King Corn. It is fucking utterly fascinating. And I think it costs $3 or whatever. It's totally worth paying for, because they basically say we should grow this little tiny bit of corn, right? That's, to Chris's point, that's all we need for human consumption. But now we've convinced the world that we need corn in our gas. We need corn in every motherfucking thing you drink.
Right.
All kinds of, beef jerky's got high fructose corn syrup. What do you people think that is? It's usually the first ingredient in the shit you're putting in your body. High fructose corn, C-O-R-N, syrup. It's literally corn syrup, right? It's sugar. It's horrible. Real sugar is fine in moderation. That shit is poison.
Well, and that's what I'm getting at. If we have enough land, we have enough farmers in this country and enough farmland in this country that there's no reason that we can't be like with the oil. We drill our own oil and shit, right? We have enough of our own oil that we produce in America. We don't need to rely on other countries, but we still
outproduce the world.
Right, but we still do for whatever fucking reason. So it's the same concept. We should utilize the farmland and put the farmers back to work, because they all want to fucking work. They all want to do what they were born to do, which was farm and be farmers and feed the country. Because we used to feed the country, our country. We used to just feed our country.
Right. But
all
we
the money
fucked up.
All the money stayed in our country. We didn't give billions of dollars to all these other world countries, and then we have these catastrophes happen, and there's no fucking money. So the government, what they give for the hurricane, like $200 in a gift card or something?
Yes. But we fucked up a long time ago when we sent.
Right.
You just asked an important question that I can actually answer for you. Why do we sell most of our oil?
Yeah.
Because we can't sell TVs anymore.
This is true. We can't make TVs.
We don't have a lot of stuff that we can sell to the rest of the world to make a little bit of money back.
Yeah, this is true.
And every economist in the world will tell you we can't tariff everything coming into the country, because then those countries will be like, guess what? We don't need your fucking oil. We'll buy it from somewhere else. Right? We don't need you for anything. We make our own TVs. We make our own cell phones. Yep. Oh, by the way, we make your TVs and your cell phones too. So
They do.
The world could squeeze our balls in a fucking vice if we all of a sudden said, "Hey, we're going to tax the shit out of you."
Yeah.
That's why we sell our oil.
Yeah.
Just so people know.
Yeah.
If we made TVs and we made sweaters and we made fucking inner tubes and all the shit that Chris is saying, you used to be able to go to the local hardware store and they had everything you needed and it was all made in the United States.
Exactly.
But we let politicians and corporations get fucking greedy and start having all these loopholes. It's our own fault, right? And the only way to fix it is to start bringing that shit back to where we don't need anybody else.
Right.
I'll use myself as an example. My whole goal in life is it's not that I don't want anybody else. I don't want to need anybody else, right?
Right. You don't want to be a burden.
Exactly. You don't want to be a burden on anybody. So as a country, we need to put ourselves in the same position where we have the most powerful military. We used to build everything in-house, right? We imported very little. Yeah. Maybe some bananas.
Bananas and some coconuts and some pineapples, from Hawaii.
Yeah.
But it still came from our country because it came from our country. It was but yeah,
I think that's the only way you fix the problem is to not have to rely on.
No, everything needs to come back. We need to grow our own food again. I think that you want to cut costs when to stop shipping food from other countries because we get all kinds of shit from Mexico, man. Like fucking stop. We can grow lettuce fucking here. We have the same climate as Mexico and Arizona and then the Southwest states. You don't need to import the food. And same with the beef and shit that they're doing. That's where I heard the story. I didn't get the full story of it, so I'm not probably accurate. But that's where the comment I made about the beef growers, the middleman's being cut out, so the beef growers don't make shit. Like it's a struggle. It's a
That's
season
also
to season
a true
to
story.
season. Right. So you need to figure out if you want America to sustain itself, we need to be able to sustain ourselves by producing our own stuff that we need to live, thrive, and survive, and stop relying on other countries. And there's so much lobbyists going on. There's so much fucking bullshit back and forth between countries. And they all come running to us when they need money, right? Not us particularly, but the country.
So
they all come to America when we want money.
Therein lies the other problem. I think one of the most misunderstood things in this country is they really uniquely named the building that is responsible for the finances in this country. It's called the Federal Reserve, right?
Right.
The Federal Reserve is anything but federal. It's a private company.
The Rockefellers, right?
And I believe if you trace it all the way back, they had their hand in it. Yes. Yeah. It's still that way. And, all the people who have been bitching about the way that finances have gone, the person that runs, so here's where it gets weird. So the person that runs the Federal Reserve is appointed by the president.
Right.
The guy that has been in charge of the Federal Reserve for the last at least 6 years was appointed by Trump. 5 years, whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
That's his guy. So if you're bitching about shit being expensive and that's who controls the money in this country is that fucking building. That's it.
Right.
They dictate what happens and whatever they say goes, and they're a private fucking company.
Yeah.
That just, it explodes my mind. And if it doesn't for you as an American, you need to wake up.
Right.
You have a private company maintaining the finances and you're yelling at the guy it's all just such a fucking illusion. You're yelling at the guy who's sitting at the chair, right? And behind the scenes, they're like, ooh, yeah, the puppet masters.
Right.
Look at the minions run.
It's kind of like you don't hear about Fort Knox anymore. Remember when we were kids? Fort Knox was this.
I got as much gold in my basement as Fort Knox. That was always the joke, right?
Right. But that's
or whatever.
The thing. Yeah.
I got as much G.I. Joe characters as gold in Fort Knox.
Right. But you don't hear about Fort Knox anymore. You don't hear about the gold standard anymore.
Well, Nixon took us off that.
Right. Which I think was the turning point.
Yeah, we were fucked.
Yeah.
Because they knew back then that in order to make themselves rich and fuck us, we had to get off. We couldn't maintain that standard, right? There's no way. We got to print money. That's what it came down to.
Yep.
When we need to, we have to print money.
Right. Which is why people don't understand you can never go back to 2% interest rates again, because it will the company will implode. It doesn't work. You need the interest rates for money to make money. Otherwise, it doesn't function properly.
Yes.
That's how you and I have talked about it. We pointed it out that you can't compare 2019 to today and the rates and the gas prices and the food costs. None of that stuff applies.
It's an entirely different world.
Exactly. It's a whole different world. It was shut down.
And I hope 4 years from now, I'll remember this episode and I will recant my words. I honestly hope that Trump fucking wins so that people realize that nothing's going to fucking change. Shit gets more expensive. The government only has so much control over what they can do.
Yep.
Would I think that we're militarily probably going to be a little safer? Sure.
Yeah.
But if you think that all of a sudden your life is going to change because the guy that you want in there, that you're living in a fucking fantasy land.
Agreed. I hope
I'm wrong. I really do.
Yeah.
Because I'm also existing in this same country and I'm also paying the taxes and the bills. I want them to get cheaper too.
As do I.
But what I see is corporate fucking greed. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, the American people don't see that. And it's not for some reason. I'm being facetious.
Oh, I know.
Shut the fucking news off.
Yeah. Well, because it's not news. It's not news anymore. It's entertainment.
Start reading.
News.
That's how I learned all this. Corporate, these people who are running these grocery stores, like the big ones, Kroger, Safeway, all the big companies, the big chains. Kroger's the parent company. They're making record fucking profits.
Yep.
How do you suppose that's happening?
Yeah.
Do you think Biden called up fucking Kroger's and said, hey, go ahead and raise your prices as far as you want, right? Let's go for 100% margin and I'll get 10% of that off the top.
Right.
That's not how fucking life works. They're gouging you because they can.
Right, because you buy the product.
Right.
And if they learned everything from COVID when the world shut down.
They learned a lot from COVID.
Exactly. Like people are going to pay $20 for a 4-pack of
$5 for 12 eggs.
Right, because they have to. Because they need it to sustain themselves.
Yep.
All the food that's why oil companies right? They were billions in the billions quarterly profits.
You know why they're raping us now? For the same reason that you and I brought up last week when I said during COVID, you can Google this. There's 1,000 stories out there of these oil tankers floating around the ocean for months and months and months. Do you want to know why they're gouging you now? Because they weren't making money during COVID.
Exactly.
Right? They went for like 18 months without that fucking revenue stream, the American public sucking at the teat of the gas pump.
Yep.
Right? They're like, what happened? Oh my God, I needed fucking Prince over in Saudi Arabia. Is like, I was counting on a new gold fucking tub, you know?
Right.
Raise gas prices to $3 a gallon.
Yep. Making up for it.
That's exactly what they're doing.
And it'll never stop. It'll never stop. We'll see $10 a gallon in our lifetime easily because it won't stop. We came close to that.
If you look at the cycles, they push you as far as they can, then they back off, right? But what do they do each time? Just like a drug user, they push you a little further.
Yep. Every time.
It took
because they know you're going to pay for it.
That's right.
You need the gas to survive. You need the food to survive. And nobody has normal everyday people like us don't have the wherewithal and the means. Like we could totally be self-sustainable. We have enough land. We could section a portion off. We could grow corn. We can grow all the vegetables to our heart's delight. But then when the summer hits, it fucks everything up, and then it's just too hot. You don't get enough water on them and that kind of things.
And reality says you don't have the time, right? Your lifestyle doesn't support that. My lifestyle.
No, it ends up being me because Nikki has the ideas. Oh, let's plant, and then once school starts, her whole life is absorbed by school because school is being a teacher is very time. It's worse now than it was when she started as far as time constraints and shit, and But she doesn't have the time that she wants to put into it, even though she would.
But we have fucked ourselves as human beings in that respect. You know, we created this illusion of what we consider a successful life, right?
Right.
To me, a successful life is what we discussed before we ever hit record.
Yeah.
All I ever wanted. And it sounds crazy, but I heard another person say this, and I can't remember who it was, or I'd give him credit. I just want to be rich enough to not have to worry about what I'm eating for dinner.
Right.
And what they meant by that is if I went out for a lobster dinner with a fucking most expensive piece of meat flown in from Austria, right?
Right.
Or if I go to
Kobe
McDonald's and get a Big Mac, it doesn't matter. Yeah, piece of Kobe beef.
Yeah.
I thought that was very poignant because past that, how much more do you need? You know, do you need a fucking 8,000 square foot house? Do you need a 16,000 square foot house? No.
I remember when Evander Holyfield was in his prime, he had a 24,000 square foot mansion in Georgia.
It's ridiculous.
24,000 square feet.
That's like a super Walmart.
Right. I mean, granted, he has like 20 kids, you know, from all different mamas, so he probably needed all the rooms and shit. But you just don't. You don't. As you get older, you realize you don't need what you think you need.
What you need is time. The one thing that you can't ever get more of, that's what you need. Time with the people that you care about.
Yeah. I just, you know, it's like we purge every time we moved, and Nikki was looking for something last night. I'm like, we threw that shit away. I would never have thrown it away. I'm like, when we went from Bolero to here, because we, you know, runners like crazy. And so we collect shirts and shit from running races and hoodies and crap. And she wanted this one for school today. I'm like, I guarantee you, we just tossed it. I guarantee you, because if it's nowhere to be found, then it was just one of those sections in the closet. Like, do we really fucking wear these clothes anymore?
I told you I'm getting ready to do that myself. That's another good message for everybody. Purge all your shit.
And what you don't want, give to.
Yeah. That's my plan.
Give to places that can use it for homeless and veterans and things like that. Don't necessarily give it to Goodwill because they turn around and sell it. Try to find somebody locally. It may be harder in your small town, but those of you that live in cities, find a donation center that will
we got like the churches and stuff.
Okay, yeah,
they make sure it goes to the right place.
Yeah, because Goodwill, I mean, they're for profit. Don't let them fool you. Same with the Red Cross. Don't fucking give a Red Cross money. Red Cross takes every dollar that they get, and like I think 70% of it doesn't go anywhere, and 30% goes to the cause. So you want to give money to people like Red Cross? You don't. You give
That's
it to
another good lesson. Just Google good causes or good charities versus bad charities. They'll have a whole list.
Yeah. Give your stuff to people that are going to use it and
like
pass
the Shriners, 100% of your money goes to the burn units, and the St. Jude's, 100% of your money goes to the kids who are, you know, fighting cancer.
Yeah.
One that I will always find fascinating that a lot of people overlook is, you know, shouldn't eat a lot of McDonald's, but
so my painter
the Ronald
buddy,
McDonald House also supports St. Jude's. It got real dark there, buddy.
It did, because my painter is putting up my screens.
Oh, I thought maybe you had a storm rolling in or something. I was like, that's odd for Arizona.
We're painting the trim. Well, it rained 2 days ago for like 3 minutes.
During the Bears game.
It rained for like 3 minutes here. It was, you know.
They had to close the roof on the stadium.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, it was hailing. That's why they had to close it.
Well, that happened in Glendale.
Yeah.
Oh, they closed it. Okay, yeah. See, we haven't had that rain here. We have like 3 minutes of like this little fuck you rain. It's kind of like God just taking a piss.
It rained for a good 20 minutes of the game there.
Well, not here, not where I live. That's what I'm saying.
I know.
Yeah.
You can have those isolated showers in the valley because it's so big.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's, you know, I equate it to God taking a piss, or he's just sweating. You know, it's not. It's, you know, it is. I was excited because like, oh, rain would be great for my seed, my rice seed. You know, I need that whole deep. This is the difference between this year and last year. We don't have the amount of rain we've had. We haven't
either.
Rain.
I think the whole country's in a drought.
Yeah, we had 2 or 3 rainstorms in December or in by this time last year, and made my grass phenomenal. And it's like, fuck, I get irrigation again. Friday night, 1:45 a.m. I got to irrigate. Like, fucking really? 1:45 a.m. It's fucking ridiculous.
All right, brother.
All right, man. Well, you go do your thing. Go have some dinner. I'm gonna get ready to do what Nikki and I do on Tuesday nights.
You guys go have your run.
Yeah, and then we'll catch you here in a few days, and you know,
we'll talk about the election results.
Yeah, that's what we'll do our next little episode. Just, you know, it'll be. I'm not watching shit tonight either. I told Nikki last night, like,
nope,
like,
me neither. I'm putting movies on.
Like, I don't give a fuck. We're gonna go run.
I did my part.
Yeah, and that's the thing, boys and girls. If you don't vote, you can't complain. So if you want to complain, go vote.
And remember, next time you can write me in.
Exactly.
I got one vote for president in my lifetime.
That's fantastic. And in the immortal words of Neil Peart, if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice.
Made a choice.
Free will, Brit. Free will, ladies and gentlemen. Free will.
Great song.
Tomorrow's a better day. Reach out if you need some love. We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely.
All
Don't
right.
let the bad days win, kids.
Don't let the bad days win. Love you, brother.
Love you too, man.
I'll see you later.
Have a
You
great
too.
night.
You as well.
Peace.
Peace.